for ABC4's Pac-12 Championship Game Special.
Tonight on this special Pac-12 Championship edition of Real Sports Live, it's Utah and Oregon for the right to go to the Rose Bowl. How much will that 38-7 shellacking the Utes put on the Ducks a couple weeks ago play into tomorrow night's results? We'll take a look back at every game this season, plus examine the legacy of head coach Kyle Whittingham and how the Utes overcame unthinkable tragedy and turned it into victory. And we'll go over our top 10 plays from the Utah football season. It's Real Sports Live, Pac-12 Championship style, and it starts right now.
Hey everybody, welcome to this special Pac-12 Championship edition of Real Sports Live. I'm Wesley Ruff, this is Danny Green, and for the next half hour, we're going to get you ready for tomorrow's huge showdown in Las Vegas between Utah and Oregon.
Cannot wait. We're going to hear from both the Utes and the Ducks. Let's start with the Pac-12 South champs hailing out of Salt Lake City. Of course, they just demolished Oregon not even 2 weeks ago, 38-7. The Ducks ranked third in the nation at the time, with the highest ranked team Utah's ever beaten. But can they do it again on a neutral field in Las Vegas for all the marbles? Well, Utah knows Oregon's going to come out angry.
We just worry about our mindset, right? But I know they're mad. I know they're going to come out hot, so it's exciting. You know, what more could you ask for?
I know they're more motivated, especially, after, coming and not playing their best football. So I know they'll definitely be more motivated, to play us.
This year they were trying to go to the playoffs, and we kind of ruined it for them. And 2 years ago they did the same to us. So we just have to come with a vengeance. We beat them this year once already, so prepare the right way, and I expect the same result.
In that game 2 weeks ago, Utah raced out to a 28-0 halftime lead. Now, Oregon's not really built to be a comeback team, so the Utes want to jump on them early again.
We really want to hit them in the face from the get-go and make sure that we set the tone early and let them know that we are the same team that played them last time.
No major overhauls, I would say, is probably the overall bottom line. One thing's for certain is, we made a bunch of plays in that game against Oregon a couple weeks ago that don't mean squat right now. Nobody, they don't care, and they're not going to have any impact on this game.
Oregon bounced back from that shellacking with an impressive win over Oregon State the following week, so the Ducks may have got their mojo back.
They played with a lot of intensity. Go watch their D-line and how they played last week. I think they got their groove back a little bit, and I think they're going to come in hungry and confident.
Now, the Utes have been here twice before, losing to Washington in 2018 and Oregon in 2019. But those who were there can learn from those experiences.
I mean, that game, the 2019 game and the 2018 game, losing both of those games, clinching the South, making it, to the championship, and then not being able to finish the job is definitely heartbreaking.
That's one thing that I learned from the first two games is how mental this game is. It's like a chess match.
Playing in their first game in Allegiant Stadium will also be a treat for the Utes.
I'm excited because so my dad's a Raider fan, so he's been talking about this stadium since literally before it was even built. He's like, this new stadium gonna be crazy. So, I'm excited to be able to play in it. I'll be able to rub that in my dad's face.
Oh, awesome, especially in Las Vegas. Never been to Las Vegas, so it'd be nice to gamble a little bit if I can. Yeah.
What's your game?
I haven't done anything yet, so yeah. I don't know, I just want to make some money. Yeah, I'll play some blackjack if anybody wants to give me some money for it. Yeah, I'm broke.
He's probably going to be more broke if he tries to gamble in Las Vegas.
Not a good place to win money. Hey, you know what the luckiest number is, though? 7, Cam Rising's number. So there you go. I think Oregon is going to play better than they did against Utah a couple weeks ago. I mean, they love to run the ball. And like we said in the package, if they get ahead, they're a tough team to come back on. But if you can jump on them early, Oregon's not built as a comeback team.
And Utah was able to come back against Arizona State, so they proved they can do that. But yeah, you want to get that lead and establish the fact that we beat you before, and now we're out in front of you again, and hopefully they can do that. And here's a stat that Utah fans are not going to like. Utah has never won a Pac-12 championship game.
0-2.
Oregon has never lost a Pac-12 championship game.
4-0.
So that's going to be tough. And again,
hey, it's got to end sometime, right?
We all know how tough it is to win in Vegas.
Right.
Even in football. But Utah has got the team built to take on Oregon. They proved it once. They can do it again. And people say, it's going to be tough to beat Oregon twice. Mostly you just have to beat them. You beat them once, you just have to beat them again.
Right. They just beat them 2 weeks ago. They didn't change that much. As for Oregon, well, they rebounded nicely after that thumping at Utah by beating Oregon State to clinch the Pac-12 North title last week.
Yeah, the Ducks said they were embarrassed by their performance at Rice-Eccles Stadium, and they're out for some revenge as they try to win a third straight Pac-12 championship.
The 2 weeks ago was probably the worst loss we've had since I've been here. So to get this team again, understand what type of game it's going to be, know what we did wrong, know how we can be better, let's do it again.
Whenever you get a second shot at somebody, it's always important to leave it out there. First one didn't go as well as we planned, as you said, and just having the opportunity to get back after it is amazing.
I think there's always carryover, there's always retention, but it is a brand new game with coaches that are working on both sides because everybody wants it, right? Everybody wants it and wants it bad.
They were more physical than us, and that's something we hammer here every day is being physical, and they out-physicaled us. And they ran the ball. We just couldn't stop it, but I'm excited for this week.
When we lost, I actually stayed on the field for a bit and kind of soaked it in. Some players were telling me, see you in 2 weeks, but them rushing the field when we lost, it was painful, watching them celebrate and watching other teams smile when we know what we could have done and how we could have played, and we didn't play to our expectations, so that really hurt.
There's no other motivating factor. Like, they embarrassed us. So as soon as the Oregon State game was over, celebrated it for a couple hours, and we were like, oh yeah, it's time, let's go. We got some unfinished business.
I think there's still some motivation because
no
Utah kept Oregon from playing in a possible college football championship game.
The crowd definitely played a factor at Rice-Eccles. We'll see if the crowd plays a factor in Las Vegas. I think there's going to be more Utah fans there than Oregon fans. It could get really loud.
Hopefully.
All right, well, there were several records broken this season, perhaps most notably Kyle Whittingham becoming Utah's all-time winningest head coach.
Yeah, Coach Whitt will always be tied to the University of Utah, but his story in college football began a little further south.
Before Kyle Whittingham was a Utah man, sir, he was a BYU Cougar. After graduating from Provo High School, he played linebacker at BYU, where his dad was an assistant coach under Lavelle Edwards. After a brief career in pro football, he was an assistant coach at the College of Eastern Utah and at Idaho State, then joined the staff at Utah in 1994. In 1995, he took over as the defensive coordinator under then head coach Ron McBride. He kept that position under Urban Meyer. But he almost didn't become the head coach at Utah. When Urban Meyer left, Whittingham applied at his alma mater, BYU, and he was actually offered the job to be the Cougars' head coach. But the BYU administration delayed the announcement because they were in Hawaii to watch the Cougar basketball team. And during that time, the Utah football players voiced their support of Whittingham to Utah Athletic Director Chris Hill, who then offered Whittingham the job. And it turned out to be a good choice. Whittingham recently passed Ike Armstrong as the winningest coach in Utah football history with that big win over Oregon.
It's been a long journey and a long grind, I guess you could say, although I loved every minute of it. But I really don't have a different stance or a different take. I mean, it's again, I just feel grateful that I could be at one place and have the opportunity to build so many relationships and have so many outstanding players come through and coaches. So I guess I'm not saying anything different than I've said the last couple of weeks, but truly feel very blessed. That's kind of the bottom line.
Whittingham's highlights have included an undefeated season and a win over Alabama in the Sugar Bowl and 3 Pac-12 South Division titles. But 2 goals have escaped him so far, a Pac-12 championship and a berth in the Rose Bowl. And he could accomplish both of those things with a victory in Las Vegas.
A little different playing the same team twice in a 13-day period. We got to get ourselves ready again for a very good Oregon Duck team.
A report came out last week speculating that if Utah wins the Pac-12 championship and goes to the Rose Bowl, Whittingham would retire. He addressed that on Monday.
No, I don't know who that was. I've heard a few things from people, and I'm having as good a time right now as I ever have, and so I'm not even contemplating that right now.
It's always fun when you're winning, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and as exciting as this season has turned out for Utah, 2021 will always be remembered for who the Utes lost.
Yeah, Ty Jordan and Aaron Lowe, 2 best friends from Texas, came to Utah to pursue their college football dreams, only to have their lives cut short by tragic shootings. But remarkably, the Utes have bonded together since their deaths and have memorialized both Lowe and Jordan with an incredible season. When Aaron Lowe was killed exactly 9 months after the death of Ty Jordan, the grief and pain were unimaginable.
Aaron, I know you can hear us, and I want to say collectively that we love you.
Aaron was more than a teammate, a best friend. That was my brother. That was like the big brother that I always wanted.
But somehow, tragedy brought this team closer together. The school retired the number 22, paid tribute to both players at every home game, and lo and behold, the Utes started playing their best football of the season.
I think that we've taken probably the hardest thing that can happen, and we've turned it into something beautiful. We'll always miss those guys, but we have great memories of them. And there's a sort of reverence whenever you talk about them, but I think we're getting to the point now where we just celebrate them, and we celebrate and we honor what they represent. So I think I'm at the point now when I'm asked about them, I don't even get sad, I just celebrate it.
With both number 22s in their hearts and in the final game on their helmets, the Utes won 8 of their last 9.
Just playing for them, playing in their memory, and really just commemorating them in everything we do. I've said it multiple times. I know they're out there with us, and, I know they're the reason why, we've been as successful as we've been. And so we just plan on continuing to play for them. And, like Covey said, we will remember them forever.
While Kyle Whittingham has been a rock for this team, he acknowledges that the maturity and strength of his players are the reasons why they've been able to turn tragedy into victory.
Our players deserve so much credit for how they've gotten through this and the way they've handled it, and just the leadership on this team is really the ones that are responsible for that. It's emotional for me every time I see it, and those guys, we love those guys. They're in the forefront of our minds all the time, and to continue to memorialize them and pay tribute to them I think it's awesome.
There aren't many teams in the country strong enough to overcome one tragedy, let alone 2. I love what Britton Covey said about turning something awful into something beautiful, and the Utes honestly believe they would not be where they are today without the inspiration provided by Aaron Lowe and Ty Jordan.
22% better every day is their goal now. And they got to be thankful to the rest of the Pac-12 too, because they honored Aaron Lowe and Ty Jordan as well by painting the hash marker on the 22-yard line red.
They put flowers on the 22.
So
every team in the Pac-12.
So kudos to all the schools to help honor
All right, we have to take a quick timeout on this special Pac-12 Championship edition of Real Sports Live.
Yes, but coming up, how did we get here?
I drove. I don't know about you.
I walked. We'll take a look back at the 2021 season when we come back. Welcome back to this Pac-12 Championship Special. It has been a long season that has led to this big game coming up in Las Vegas. There have been plenty of twists and turns, ups and downs.
But man, did Utah finish strong or what? Let's take a look back at the entire 2021 season. The 2021 season started with a literal storm. Rain and lightning delayed the Utah-Weber State game about 90 minutes, but after a slow start, the Utes got it going. Starting quarterback Charlie Brewer threw 2 touchdowns to Dalton Kincaid. Tavion Thomas rushed for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns as the Utes opened the year with a less than stellar 40-17 win over the Wildcats.
I had a bunch of stuff I wrote down here. I got tired of writing it. In the first quarter, he let a kickoff return out for a touchdown. We drop a touchdown pass. We have to burn a timeout on a field goal. We've got 10 guys out there. We got a whole laundry list of stuff to work on for this week. It'll keep us busy.
In week 2, Utah's offense sputtered in the rivalry game against BYU. The Utes committed 2 costly turnovers, and despite 146 yards rushing and a touchdown by Mekhi Bernard, the Utes' 9-game winning streak over the Cougars came to an end at LaVell Edwards Stadium, 26-17.
The Utes left the state for the first time this season in Week 3 against San Diego State. After throwing a second-half interception, Charlie Brewer was benched and eventually transferred, paving the way for Cam Rising to take over. Rising rallied the Utes back from a 14-point deficit by throwing 3 touchdowns to send the game into overtime. But the Utes came up short in the third OT in a 33-31 loss to the Aztecs.
Sitting at 1-2, the Utes turned it around back at Rice-Eccles Stadium against Washington State. Despite 7 fumbles, TJ Pledger eventually took over the rushing load and ran for 117 yards and a score, while the Utes defense forced 3 turnovers, the biggest coming on a pick 6 by Clark Phillips III, as the Utes won a defensive slugfest over the other Cougars, 24-13.
We have to pick up on Monday and make sure that ball security is our number 1 priority. That can't happen again. That was terrible.
In Utah's first game after the tragic passing of Aaron Lowe, the Utes rallied for a historic win over USC in the Coliseum. Cam Rising completed 22 of 28 passes for 306 yards and 3 touchdowns, including a 37-yard strike to Devon Bailey. He also ran for a score as the Utes dominated the Trojans for their first win over USC in Los Angeles ever, dating all the way back to 1916, 42-26.
We feel inspired, man. You know, just to go out there with a bigger purpose. It almost makes me cry. I'm just proud, happy, you know, inspired, excited.
The Utes then made it 3 wins in a row with a 35-21 victory over 18th-ranked Arizona State to take over control of the Pac-12 South. Down by 14 points at the half, the Utes stormed out of the gates in the second half, outscoring the Sun Devils 28-0. Cam Rising threw for 2 touchdowns, while Utah grinded out 208 yards rushing in a 35-21 victory.
First half, we just started off slow, but the defense held it down, and the offense just got that spark we needed, and 28 unanswered points, I think. That was it. That's a good game.
However, the 3-game winning streak came to an end the next week at Oregon State. The Utes gave up a season-high 468 yards, 260 on the ground. The Utes special teams broke down as well as Luke Musgrave blocked a punt and returned it for a score as the Beavers handed the Utes their only Pac-12 loss of the season, 42-34.
The winning ways returned in a big way the next week at home against UCLA. What a way to honor the number 22, which was retired in a tribute to Aaron Lowe and Ty Jordan. Tavion Thomas tied a school record with 4 rushing touchdowns to go along with a career-high 160 yards rushing. UCLA came in with the Pac-12's best rushing defense, but the Utes left the Bruins in ruins with 297 yards on the ground in a 44-24 romp.
I was feeling all right, though. My team got me turned. My O-line, they was moving that thing, so it's like, shoot, it made it easy for me. And we all were just working together, receivers, tight ends, everybody was doing their jobs.
If you thought that was a dominating performance, the Utes absolutely dismantled Stanford the following week. Thomas again had 4 touchdown runs, this time all in the first half. For the first time ever, the Utes had 3 rushers go over the 100-yard mark in Thomas, Mekhi Bernard, and TJ Pledger, who had the longest run in Utah history, a 96-yarder to seal a 52-7 blowout win over the Cardinal.
The Utes then had a bit of a letdown in the desert at Arizona. After falling behind 17-14, Utah finally got it rolling as Rising threw touchdown passes to Brant Keithy and Dalton Kincaid. TJ Pledger rushed for 119 yards and 2 scores as Utah set up that massive showdown against Oregon with a 38-29 victory.
That's what you call winning ugly. You got to do that once in a while. And if you're a good team, you'll do that. You'll win the ugly ones.
The hype and excitement was off the charts for the third-ranked Ducks, and the Utes delivered one of their most complete performances in school history. Physically dominating on both sides of the ball, the Utes raced to a 28-0 halftime lead, capped by a 78-yard back-breaking punt return by the one and only Britton Covey. Tavion Thomas set a Utah single-season rushing touchdown record with his 17th of the year. Oregon becomes the highest-ranked team Utah's ever beat, and Kyle Whittingham becomes Utah's all-time winningest coach with his 142nd victory, 38-7.
It's pretty old school, but if you've got a team that buys into it, it works. It's we run the ball, even if you know we're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball until you come in to stop us. Then we're going to be a great play-action pass team.
Coach Witt, I think he's the best coach in Utah football history, and he deserves everything that comes his way. And I really just can't say enough about these guys.
And in the regular season finale against Colorado, the Ute defense absolutely stifled the Buffaloes, allowing just 148 total yards and just 9 first downs. Tavion Thomas rumbled for 142 yards and a touchdown, while Cam Rising threw 3 touchdown passes, 2 to his tight ends, and another on a little flip pass to Britton Covey, as the Utes go into the Pac-12 championship game with a 5-game winning streak after a 28-13 victory over Colorado.
My guys just really stepped up and showed out today. It was something special just to be able to do that, especially being my last time in this stadium. No.
What? No.
Come on.
I guess this sequence out, I guess.
I think it was a positive ending to the season. Positive ending to a very positive season, but we still have work to do.
Yeah, what a year it has been.
Man, I think they're playing their best right now, though.
Absolutely.
8 out of 9, they're playing really well going into this one.
All right, as you just saw, the year was filled with plenty of great plays.
Yeah, coming up, we're going to count down the top 10 plays of the 2021 season, so stick around. Welcome back to the show. There is so much talent on this Utah football team, and with great talent comes great plays.
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Too many to choose from, in fact, but we've narrowed it down to the top 10 plays of the 2021 season. See if you agree with our picks.
At number 10, from the rivalry game, Mekhi Bernard churning and burning his way through the BYU defense for a touchdown. Just outstanding tough running by Bernard, and he's rewarded with the score.
At number 9, from the Oregon game, Brant Keithy with the reception over the middle, and look at him bust through no less than 3 tackles, stays on his feet, dragging defenders with him for a 46-yard gain. What an effort by Brant Keithy.
At number 8, Tavion Thomas had a record-breaking 18 touchdowns this season, but this one may have been his best. Thomas dodges 2 Stanford defenders at the line of scrimmage, gets to the middle, and busts it 57 yards for the score. Thomas showing off the agility, the power, and the speed all in one play.
At number 7, it wasn't a great outcome, but Britton Covey was doing Britton Covey things against San Diego State. Fields the punt, gets to the sideline, and with his speed, you think anyone's going to catch him? I don't think so. 82 yards and the touchdown.
Our number 6 play wasn't as long, but it was even more spectacular. Cam Rising fighting his way through 2 tackles, puts a hand down, and scores. Rising going into beast mode, refusing to go down until he gets to the end zone.
At number 5, from a rising run to a rising rocket. Off the flea flicker, rising to Devon Vele, a 37-yard strike. This wasn't even supposed to be a flea flicker, but it was, and it worked, as Utah beats the Trojans in LA for the first time ever.
Our number 4 play comes from the great Devin Lloyd, showing why he will be a first-round NFL draft pick. Lloyd somehow picks off the pass at the goal line and falls into the end zone for the touchdown. Just insane athleticism on display here by Lloyd as the Utes beat up Stanford.
Our number 3 play appropriately comes from Clark Phillips III. To clinch the win against Washington State, Phillips picks off the pass, weaves his way through the Cougars' offense, and takes it all the way back 54 yards. That's Phillips' second pick 6 against Washington State in as many years.
At number 2, Utah football history. TJ Pledger busts off the longest run from scrimmage ever by a Utes player. Pledger goes 96 yards against Stanford. Great blocking by the offensive line to open up that humongous hole, and Pledger runs right through it and right into the Utah record books.
And our number 1 play of the year is the biggest play in the biggest game. Britton Covey again against third-ranked Oregon. On the final play of the first half, Covey gets to the sideline, and with the entire stadium shaking, Covey goes 78 yards for the touchdown. Who else but Britton Covey would have our top play of the year?
We had a little bit of a debate about what would be number 1 because
right.
I thought Pledger's run, because it was historical.
But that was the biggest play in the biggest game.
But Britton Covey, oh my goodness.
And if you don't like it, just send your complaints to wruff@abc4.com.
Wait, what?
He'll field them all.
What?
Yeah. All right, coming up, we're going to wrap up our Pac-12 championship game special, so stick around. All right, if you're not fired up for this game tomorrow night by now, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't.
But we're going to get you even more fired up because coming up tomorrow night, we have another pregame show at 5:30. Dana is headed down to Las Vegas. He'll join us live from Allegiant Stadium. The game kicks off at 6 o'clock right here on ABC4. And no need to change the channel after that because we'll have a half-hour post-game show immediately following the game, and it should be a good one. The first matchup was one of the highest-ranked watch shows in Pac-12 history.
That's right. Everyone's going to be watching this one. Predictions. What do you got?
Utah 28, Oregon 24.
Ooh, I'm going 30-24. That's close.
Ooh.
Utah. Utah's going to win. We'll see you tomorrow night before the game. Don't forget to tune in.
And we'll see you after the game as well. Have a great night. Go Utes!
Go Utes!